So I don't know if that stopped at some point or what, or if I was sitting here talking to myself for like the last 10 minutes. I don't know. I think it's working now. I hope. There's people in the chat. It says no one's watching though. However, that's possible. You would think like this would be easy. I was talking to myself for 7 minutes. Tommy, did you hear my answer to your question? Because I think that was the last one I just answered about the moisture meter. Totally just sitting here talking to myself. Yeah, it's all right. Whatever. It's all fun. We're all friends here. Oh, yeah. I was gone for 10 minutes. So literally I was sitting here going through the chat, answering questions, and no one was watching because it was frozen. Perfect. Happy Friday. Oh, it's hilarious because now all the questions I answered are going to come in here again. So if it froze before I got to your question, post it again because I literally got down through the entire chat, answered every single question, and then realized that it was frozen. So there's that. Oh, man. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh, man, it's hilarious. All right, let's see where everybody's at here. Oh. The last thing you heard was having to move the high boy. So talking about Matt's gym is not closed because the high boy is heavy. Oh, boy. If everyone in the chat says crotch, well, I finished the beer. If it takes you guys long enough to all say crotch, I guess that's possible. This is my first drink, yes. There's like only like half a beer. I am interested in timber framing. That's why I watch your videos. If you guys are interested in timber framing, oh, I lost it already. Check out the Tradesman channel. 2017 is in the chat. Just awesome. Awesome videos on timber framing. Like every day. He's crazy. Posting every day. All right. Who got me into woodworking and who was my mentor? I got myself into woodworking because I wanted to make something that my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, saw at Ikea that I thought what I could make better than what they had for sale there. Didn't really have any mentors as far as woodworking goes. Just all self-taught, hanging out in the shop, figuring stuff out and making projects. Oh look, everyone's on the crotch game. We gotta finish this drink. So yeah, so you guys missed the whole thing about the dust collector. That's funny. So I got up like this, and I went over here like this, and I said the dust collector is working really well as some storage. I've got my chainsaws up there, and some scrap wood, and a little wind speed meter up there, and the other bellows for the sawmills up there. So it's really good as a tall work table for storing stuff on. It's looking really good right there next to the other dust collector. You know, just taking up space. Crotch. Yeah, so I'd like to do a timber framed something. I don't know when we move. It depends on the property you buy. If it has a shop already, I'd kind of prefer not to have one so I can build my own, and I'd like to do some of the timber framing on it. I don't know if I could do like a whole timber frame shop because I literally don't have that much time to do a whole shop like that. I think it'd be really cool to do some smaller buildings, maybe like a drying shed or just like something like that, gazebo kind of thing, or a pergola, something like that, just to kind of get into it, but not like a whole giant structure, because I know as much as I want to do that, that would probably consume at least a year of my life, and that would be a lot of time invested in that. And I wouldn't have time to do anything else, like be in the shop making woodworking projects. I've timber framing my whole life. So What'd be really cool would be to like do one of the bays myself and then hire a timber framing crew to do the rest of them, and they can laugh at my work. That would be fun. My dust collector is literally collecting dust. My opinion on Japanese tools and woodworking. I don't really have one. I haven't actually, the only Japanese tools I've used are Mark's chisels when I was in Colorado for 6 days, and they were all dull. So I have literally no opinion at this point. How many 220 drafts do I have in my shop? And how many do I put in my timber frame shop? I have the planer, the table saw, the jointer, and the lathe, and the sawmill. So 5. And I have to drop another one for the new dust collector because that's going to be 220. I don't know, as many as you need, I guess. Timber screen porch would be pretty sweet. I'm staying in Minnesota. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. I know, normal only 3 days, but special treatment for this guy, you know. Mark's a softie. Does my wife help me in the shop? No, not really. She's done a few projects that we have videos for on the channel, but it's literally like once a year. We're going to be doing the Woodworkers Fighting Cancer resin frame casting thing. Hopefully this weekend, if we can get some time with the kids to not be running around so much, we can actually do that, and then that'll be like another video of us in the shop. Hopefully. 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 Favorite new YouTuber? Who do you enjoy watching? I watch a lot of things. Like lately I've been like branching away from the woodworking content for some reason. But as far as like woodworking stuff goes, Matt Esley has a fantastic channel. I met him at Yandles last month. He does some, he's a funny guy. I really like his videos, and I would say he's my favorite new YouTuber. I think he's been doing it for like a year now. Why did it, I'm sorry, he's moving. Jeff S., what's the best way to mill highly figured wood when you only have straight knives in your jointer and planer and you're getting massive tear out? The biggest thing that I do, because I have straight knives in my planer, is I run the boards at a skew angle so the cut is not straight onto the board. I find that helps quite a bit and kind of removes any of the severe tear out that I might get. I know some people suggest wetting the surface with water or mineral spirits or something to soften the fibers. That could help as well. For me, when I skew the boards through there, even against the grain or something, I might get a little bit of micro tear out or small pieces of tear out, and that's pretty easy to clean up as part of the surface prep. But I'm going to be doing all the surface prep on the whole piece anyway, so whether that's sanding that day or car scraper or whatever, usually works out pretty well for me. But massive tear out can be a serious problem. Sharp knives, pretty good tip as well, I guess. What's the lighting like in my shop? I can show you what the lighting is like in my shop. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. All right. So we're gonna zoom out a little bit here. All right, so that's the workbench, obviously. Above the workbench are these, what are these things? Little lamp things from Ikea. They kind of provide some directional light directly down into the workbench. T8 fixtures, 2 4-footers there, an 8-footer there, so that's what, a bunch of tubes. And then above where the camera is right now, I have another T8 8-foot fixture, and then I have another 8-foot fixture here that I put some of those LED things in to try those out. So over the bench area, I have, what, 16 T8 tubes, and then I also have a fill one. You can kind of see it behind the garage door rail there. It's another 2 tubes. So over the workbench area in this quarter of the garage, there's 18 T8 tubes. And on this side, this other quarter, there's just the 3 fixtures, so 12 tubes. And then I got kind of the same thing on the other side of the shop. There's a 8-foot fixture there, 8-foot fixture there, 8-foot fixture behind here, and then these are 2 4-foot fixtures. So that's the lighting I have in my shop. I normally have a light box in here as well, but that's in the house right now. I use that for fill lighting for the videos. Throat. Whoa. Boop, 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 boop. I don't have any turning blanks that size right now. David asks, I see a pretty varied set of tools besides Trident. Do you have any brands you enjoy more than others? I'm not really like a huge brand kind of person, I guess. I like to buy whatever is like the best tool for that job or for that category. I have I guess I have a lot of Grizzly tools. I have 3. I got a lathe, a planer, and a jointer. I like those a lot because they have a pretty good cost associated with them. They're fairly inexpensive comparatively, so that's kind of a nice thing there. But otherwise, like, everything's kind of a mixed match of things at this point. Moving. Have I looked into phase converters for 3-phase equipment? My sawmill is a 3-phase motor, so it is the 10 horsepower motor that drives the actual blade is 3-phase, and it's run off of a variable frequency drive. And then the lift motor is also 3-phase. I have that running off of another VFD so I can control the speed and do some fun stuff with that. So the VFD is great on the mill because it does have a braking mechanism, so it can brake the motor so the mill will stop a lot. Well, it still takes a while to stop, but it stops a lot faster with the internal brake on the VFD than it does if that brake wasn't there. It would free spin for probably 1.5 to 2 minutes without that braking mechanism, which takes that spin down time to, I think it's set to 20 seconds, which is the maximum that VFD will do without an external braking resistor, which I haven't looked into. So there's that. What am I drinking? I'm drinking this Lining Frugal's Original. Cheers. There you go, a Sensor Craftsman. That's a good channel. I don't have any students per se. I guess you could call the fantastic people in the guild students in a sense. How do I determine lumber pricing? Do I sell by board foot or just put a price on your slabs? I sell by the board foot. I have a very simple, at least in my mind, a very simple pricing strategy. I have a base price, and then I have incremental upcharges based on thickness and width. I think that's a very easy way to go about it, so you kind of know exactly how much a board is going to cost when you look at it based on how wide it is and the thickness on that board. Type of chainsaw to recommend for milling. The biggest one you can afford. My opinion on the Samurai Carpenter and his work. Jesse is a great guy. I like what he does. Thank you for the super chat. I sort of ran into Ben Crow at Yandel's. Every single time I went over to his booth, someone was always talking to him. So I didn't get to talk to him, which is kind of unfortunate. But it's a good problem, I guess. He was busy. A lot of people know who he is. So there's that, I guess. Where do I do pull-ups at? Anywhere I want. Am I Italian? Yes, I am half Italian. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, apparently there's a lot of questions here. Am I going to Ohio anytime? Not that I know of. I'm probably going to need another drink pretty soon. I'm waiting for all the people that said they were going to come. Like when I first started this like 40 minutes ago and no one's here. What's the most useless tool in my shop? My dovetail jig. My shop is heated. I have a natural gas forced air heater thingy-mabobber. 40,000, 45,000 BTU. And one of those little like garage ceiling mounted heater things. I have never upset my neighbors with noise, at least that I know of. I'm interested in starting to use card scrapers. What should I keep in mind when purchasing a set? Like what to look for and consider, and what accessories are needed to maintain them? So it depends on the kind of work that you do. If you're just looking to buy your standard rectangular scraper, I'll grab a couple. So the biggest thing with those, the only real difference is like the thickness of the stock that the scraper is made of, which is going to determine how flexible it is. And it really depends on the work you're trying to do. If you want to get down into like a little bit of tear out, you want something that's a little bit flexible so you can kind of bend the blade or bend the scraper a little bit to get down into that spot. If you're trying to just surface a whole top and you want a nice flat surface, probably something a little thicker, it's harder to bend, will work out better for that. I think these are a little thicker. This is a thinner, but it's got a profile on it. Profiled ones, handy for moldings and things like that, where you have a profile you want to clean up. All different radiuses and convex things, and of course you can literally make this into whatever shape you want if you have something crazy you want to clean up. So there's that. Gooseneck scraper, I won't grab it, but it's super handy for moldings because it gives you that nice a varied curve radius thing, so you can literally turn the scraper to whatever position works best for the molding you're trying to clean up or for whatever shape you're trying to do. So that thing is actually one of the more handy ones, at least for stuff that I do. Accessories needed to maintain them. The three things I use are a file, a sharpening stone, and a burnisher. And that's about it, really. Hope that helps. I've got videos on sharpening the rectangular ones as well as curved ones as well. I think those are like Ask Matt 16 and 17 or something like that. Do I have an opinion on the David Barron Dovetail guides? Not really, other than I haven't used them. I think for anything like that, if it helps someone understand the process and gets them into dovetailing or getting them into the shop and they're enjoying it, that's fantastic. So it's good overall. My favorite project and not so favorite project. Favorite project still has to be the secretary desk. My least favorite project has to be the crib. I hated that project. It was so annoying. Oh man. I'm sorry if I missed your question. The chat just loves to just go all over the place. How do you buy slabs from you? And it just disappeared. If you're local, you can let me know. You can stop out and see what I have. I have some stuff that I have from the open house still. A lot of ash, 10-quarter ash slabs and some 8-quarter cherry slabs. And then I have all the stuff that I milled this past year that should be available sometime next year. When am I going to finish the hydraulics on the mill? I haven't even started yet. So probably in the spring because I don't really want to work in the winter again. That was so terrible. What happened to the Wood Whisperer live today? I have no idea. Actually, I was wondering that myself. Hope Mark's alive. No, he's alive. I texted him today. I don't know. Good question. How do I pick comments to read? I just go down the list and hopefully the chat doesn't like jump me somewhere else, and that's how I pick questions to read. And apparently I missed a whole bunch of them because I'm scrolling up from that comment and I see a bunch of stuff I didn't see before. So that's how this works. There's literally no structure. It's terrible. I'm doing my best. Would I build or buy a sawmill if I had to do it over again? So I don't know if I had mentioned this in the build at any point, but for a mill like that and the volume that I do, it would never make financial sense for me to buy a mill that could do what that mill can do. That mill ended up costing, I think, what, $8,500 in parts, and I don't know how long it took me to put it together, but the learning experience in itself was worth more than that to me. The comparable that I used for like pricing wise of comparability is the Hudson Oscar 60, which is 5 feet wide, and that mill is $43,000, and it seems like it's fine. It's not built anywhere near as heavy as my mill is, which is kind of a nice plus for me because I can make it however I want to make it. Even if it's overbuilt, I know I'm going to beat the crap out of it, so that's kind of a nice thing. I don't have to worry about when I'm messing around out there, trying to get logs on there, I'm not going to bend something and throw my bed off because I dropped this huge log on it off my trailer, for instance. So I would build it again. I think I've returned to the beginning again. Knowing what you know about the tools, we still partner with Triton, and how do you like the track saw? The tools have been great. Like, I can honestly say they've been great. Like I really do enjoy using them. I haven't had any real problems with them either. Like, I have every single thing they make. I don't know how many holes I drilled in the sawmill, but one of the biggest comments and questions I got when I was doing that part of the mill was, hey, how many drills did you burn out, you know, building the sawmill, drilling all those holes in steel, and then how many drills did you burn out running the feed mechanism on your mill with a drill? This is the drill. It's got that nice patina, and it still works. So yeah, it's been great, and they've been really great to work with. They're super supportive of everything that I do, and they've just been a really, really great company to work with. Like, I have the unfortunate job of having to work with or try to work with these tool companies, and a lot of them don't really get it. They don't see this as a valuable form of advertising, even though it is. And it's almost insulting to me and to all of you because they assume that your eyeballs are worth nothing, which is obviously not the case. So unfortunately, that happens too much. The track saw, let me grab that real quick. If I can get it, it's stuck. I probably should have arranged this better. Move this down a little bit. So the track saw, as far as the stuff that I do, I just cut straight lines. I don't really do partial cuts through stuff, so I can only evaluate this based on my experiences with the TS55 and this saw and the stuff that I do. So it goes down just fine. It's got the blade change option thing, so when you plunge it all the way down, it locks, whatever. I don't know. It cuts straight lines. It glides across the track really nicely. The blade that comes with it is just fine. And when I had my TS55, I had a dedicated ripping blade, which I don't have for this saw, but I do want to get one because it's kind of nice to have. But cut quality is fine. Dust collection is good. The only, the biggest thing that I miss from the TS55 is the plug it thing. That's the one thing I miss from the Festool stuff, because you can have the little plug and you don't have to have a cord attached to the tool all the time. But other than that, as far as I'm concerned, they do exactly the same thing. And this is, I don't know how much is the TS55 now? Is it $800 or something like that? Maybe more. I don't know how much it is. I think that the Triton saw is $400 or something. But power's fine. It cuts through whatever. And actually, one of the nice benefits of that saw, it's kind of the same size as the TS55, but it has a slightly deeper depth of cut. It'll cut 2¼ inches deep, which is kind of nice. Because, oh boy, there's a lot of times when I had the Festool, I was cutting things that were 2 inches thick, and that one only cuts 1 15/16 deep. So I always have like a little 1/16 of an inch I couldn't cut all the way through, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why they came up with that number as the maximum depth of cut. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Do I run? Not anymore. I haven't run in like a decade. It's gone. Cool. I'm down at the bottom again. What's the best way to turn $100 into $1,000? Add a zero. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. Maybe it's because it's late. I don't know. What's up, Tom? Where am I going to stock my wood as I keep milling? I've been selling it, so it's kind of takes care of itself. Do I get mold on my slabs when I'm drying them? I do not. I am located in Minneapolis. Does the mill have a name? It does have a name. I don't know if I'm announcing that yet. I gotta talk to my wife. I think we're like deciding between two. I think she's gonna win the naming game because that's how it works. Mark is sending me some of those planer brackets. I haven't got them yet. I'm still waiting for my package of stuff from when I was there in August that he hasn't sent me yet. Netman asks, recent subscriber, how old are you and how did you acquire all the equipment and skills? I am 30, and I just acquired the skills over time, practicing a lot, and the equipment over time. I've been woodworking for like 9 years, so yeah, just over time. Started with nothing, like everybody else, no skills and no equipment, and this is where I'm at right now, I guess. Pretty cool. Dream tool to have in my shop? I don't know, to be honest. The problem with like the dream tools is like I have these tools that I want, but my shop is too small. Like I would love to have a metal lathe, like a bigger one, and like an actual like a metal mill, and I'd love to have like a wide belt sander and like all these larger pieces of equipment, but they would not fit in this shop. So that's kind of the bigger issue. So I wanted a sawmill for a while. I have that now, I guess. David asks, what inspires you to do a Queen Anne highboy? And will you be doing any other period pieces like that? I had always wanted to do a highboy. So before I even started on the secretary desk, I wanted to do a highboy. But for whatever reason, something stupid possessed me to do the secretary desk first, which is a way more challenging and technical project than a highboy is. So out of like this thing in the back of my mind of things I always wanted to make, the highboy captured my imagination at a very early I guess early point in my woodworking. So like the stock that I have cut for the goosenecks and the cabriole legs, I milled that back when I had originally wanted to make the highboy, and I had wanted to make it from before then. So I finally had access to some cherry logs, and I cut them into 12/4 for the cabriole legs and the goosenecks, and that was in 2012 I milled that stuff. So that's been sitting around for 5 years already, and I had wanted to make one from like 1 or 2 years before that, which honestly I had no business making those back then, or having the idea to make one of those back then, because I would have failed like miserably. I did not have the skill to make a highboy back then, but I've progressed a long way since that point. Future period pieces, yeah, probably. The thing I like about period work is that it does have a lot of challenging elements that they teach you a lot about fundamentals of woodworking, but they also have a lot of challenging things that kind of force you to go out into different areas that you might not be comfortable with, like carving or just rough shaping or curve work, profile work. Obviously good joinery, that's a fundamental, but things like that allow you to kind of branch out and do a much broader woodworking perspective on a piece of furniture than just something a little more modern that you would normally build, I guess. One of the things I do want to make at some point in my life is a Bombay chest. Either just the whatever, like a low case, the chest, 4 chest of drawers, Bombay, or a Bombay desk, or maybe a Bombay something with a bookcase on top. Something Bombay, because I really want to do that lower case with the compound flare out, you know, booty thing. I'll call it the booty chest, because it looks like a booty. My favorite tool in the shop this week. Favorite tool of all time for this week. This guy. It's just, there's something that's amazing about this. And it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful. So, the H&T Gordon skewed rabbit plane. Yes, so my dream tool is a bigger shop. That is true. Can you expand the house out towards the back? You can do anything with enough money. What brand of lav mic do I have? This is a Sony. I don't know what the model number is on it. I've had this one for about a year. Before that, I was using the Sennheiser. I switched to using these Sonys because I have a Sony camera and I can put the receiver directly into the hot shoe on the camera. So I have, it's powered from the camera, so I have one less set of batteries to worry about and one less cord to worry about. So it just makes it a little more streamlined for me. And also the body pack is a little more compact on the Sony than the Sennheiser, which is kind of nice because I have to put it on myself and have it on me all the time. Gantry crane for the bandsaw mill. Bridge crane for the bandsaw mill. And I moved again. Have you ever made a mistake on a project you were filming and cut it out so nobody would know? Yeah, you just turn the camera the other direction and then you'll never know. I don't really have any good examples of that. Most of the time I try and show any mistakes or errors because I think that's a good learning opportunity, but sometimes it just doesn't make a difference to the whole project or to the video or whatever. So if it doesn't have any relevance, then I'll take it out or not show it, but for the most part I show any issues I might have because I know a lot of people have these weird issues here and there. Does Charles Neal have a video on the Bombay chest, or just he likes the Bombay chest in general? Besides the fact that Charles Neal is like incredibly awesome. How do I wire my sawmill for single phase? I used the variable frequency drive. I went over that in the, I think it's part 10 of the build, where I did the motor. How many drill drivers do I have? I have a lot, because Triton sent me a lot of them. And I sold all my old ones. So I have, what, like 8? No. Yeah, probably. I got all this, I have all these 20 volts, and I have a few of the 12 volts as well. Do I know if English walnut slabs are as desirable or valuable as black walnut slabs? You know, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's all slabs to me. Like, I don't, everything that I cut's all one price, so it's all the same value. So I have no firm reference for that, to be honest. I think I've reached the bottom. Yes. Yes. I got to the bottom. Hopefully I got all the questions. Oh, here's some more. How should I go about getting wood from other people's land? Ask them nicely. Make some friends with land. That's all I got. I'm sure there's some other way to go about it, but probably just reaching out to the landowner. Who cuts my hair? Whoever happens to be working at the hair place that day. I'll have to check that out, Tom. Thanks. What's my opinion on pocket holes? They're fine. I don't know. I don't use them. No opinion. Does the dress make my wife look fat? I don't know, Scott. I don't think I should answer that. Face stickers. I did watch before I built the secretary desk, I watched Tommy Mac's series on building his Bombay secretary. And that's one of the things that kind of motivated me to build the secretary, because I saw him do it. I'm like, oh, he can do it. Not that I'm like anywhere near his skill level, but I could see the whole process, so I knew that it was step by step, it's approachable, but as a whole, it's a huge project. So just seeing his work on that really inspired me to try my own crazy adventure in building that piece of furniture. It took me a long time, but I learned a whole lot from it, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. Thank you, Jeff. Goodbye. Have a good night. What's up, Ted? How you doing? Last time I had pancakes. It's been a while. So my son Max, we found out he has an egg allergy. So I haven't made pancakes in a while since we found that out like 3 weeks ago, I think. I bought an egg substitute to try that. So last time I had pancakes was when I tried with an egg substitute. Not very good. So I'm still hunting for a egg substitute that doesn't change the taste of my pancakes, which I loved so much. Otherwise, I'll just start making pancakes again, and then hopefully JR doesn't feed Max any of the pancakes, because that's more what I'm worried about. Pocket holes don't exist. Yeah, sorry, don't last. I'm sorry, they don't last. I don't know if they do. Depends on what you're making, I guess. Oh, that's a good one. Sorry. Or was it? Scott asked me a good question. For real though, if Lindsay wasn't working, would your life as a YouTuber have been a real possibility, or would you have gone back to the workforce after losing your job back when? Yeah, it would not have been possible. We were not in a financial position for us like not be working. I don't know what she'd be doing if she wasn't working. But the fact that she had a stable job is what allowed me to not go back to the workforce, to literally start back at zero, which was exciting and scary at the same time, because I knew we had just found out that we're having JR. When I got laid off, we had found out a month prior. So she was 3 months pregnant when I got laid off, something like that. But I don't know, she had faith in me that I could make a living doing this, which is insane thinking about it now, that I've made it quite a long way in those almost 3 years. It's been a crazy adventure. Yeah, there's no way I could have done without her. Her support, both from the financial side to allow our home to stay, like financially sound, and then from a supportive emotional side, just having faith in me that I could do it. So it's been hard. It's been good, but I'm glad I did it. It was a very risky decision to make, but it paid off. And yeah, I'd do it again, for sure, because I love doing this. Absolutely love it. That was a good question. I like that one. I love my wife. And I'm back at the bottom again. Apparently it jumped. Does woodworking have a 401k? Yes, if you self-fund it. Absolutely. Anyone can. How did I learn the majority of my woodworking skills, and how do you continue to improve? So when I first started, I just read a lot of books, watched whatever videos there were, which were like none back then. Books and magazines, I consumed as many of those as I could get my hands on. And then more importantly than that, I went out to my shop and actually did these things. So I was in the shop. It was like before I got married, before we had kids, I'd easily be in the shop, 30 to 40 hours a week, just building stuff and just experimenting and trying new things. So I was able to rack up a lot of practical hours over those years to get to like a somewhat decent skill level. And then from there, it's just I just keep pushing myself into new things that are a little more challenging. And something that I do is every single time I build something new, well, maybe not every single time, but every time I try and do something a little grander, I always try to incorporate something new in there that I'm not familiar with, that I know I'm not good at yet, so that I have the opportunity to learn and improve and just kind of try a new skill and just get better that way. That's worked out pretty well for me, at least so far. That being said, since I started making videos, that process is a lot harder for me to do because a lot of my time now is not spent actually woodworking. It's actually like behind the camera, setting up the shots, and spending a lot more time. The time I spent in the shop is not necessarily woodworking, it's more making the videos. So it has kind of stagnated things a little bit as far as like progression in my skill set, but I'm very happy with where I'm at with my skills. They're continuing to grow, and I get to take everyone along with me. So it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Am I going to sell my t-shirts when I go back in May to the UK? No, I'm not going to bring a whole caseload of t-shirts, but if you want to pre-order some, I will bring them with me, and you can save, I think it's $10 for shipping. I'd be happy to do that. I do have a great wife. She is pretty incredible. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. See, the problem with bananas or like apples as an egg substitute is it's going to impart that flavor onto the food. So if I wanted banana pancakes, I would have made banana pancakes. I don't, for whatever reason, like things in my pancakes. I'm really weird like that. I like plain, boring pancakes, nothing in them. So what I'm looking for is an egg substitute that tastes like eggs or doesn't impart anything or whatever. It's exactly the same as with the eggs. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm sorry. Where did you chuckle from? I don't know. I got it from my mama. Right? It's like my great body. A lot of time waiting for wood to air dry. Learning much patience. Have a kiln yet? My basement is, like, honestly the best way for me to dry lumber. Earlier we talked about wood warping, or like projects warping over time. The basement is fantastic because I'm able to really control the drying process, and it dries lumber as fast as I kind of am comfortable doing it. The faster you dry it, the higher the risk of imparting drying stresses into the wood is. So I like to use wider boards, and especially in those, any amount of fast drying, you want a really slow, controlled dry so that there is not any stress building up in those boards. So I'm really happy with the drying time with my basement kiln. It's basically a dehumidification kiln if you ever looked into those. And it's really quick. It's like 3 months for 4/4 stock, which is, that's nothing. And also the nice thing about like making your own lumber is like I am so far ahead in my supply of my actual use. So like the stuff I'm cutting and drying now, I wouldn't even have time to use or have them like in my workflow or my plan for projects for at least the amount of time that they'll have to dry and then some. So I don't know, once you get into it and you kind of do it, you just have this constant supply that's always coming through, and you're working so far ahead of it anyway that the dry waiting time doesn't really matter, I guess. Thank you, Jesse! So you can just send some money like this? I guess so. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jesse. I have tried egg-free pancakes. I think I tried egg-free pancakes once. Didn't really like them that much. Oh yes, presumably butter and maple syrup on top of the pancakes. Obviously, that has to happen. But inside the pancakes themselves, just the 7 ingredients that are core to pancakes. It's cold in here. I don't have a heater on. It's like under 65 degrees. It's cold. Scott, you're like killing it with these questions today. Do the haters ever get you down? You know, sometimes it depends on my mood. Sometimes it's kind of hard to take that criticism. Not even the criticism's fine. I don't have a problem with criticism. I have problems with people that are just assholes and don't really, I don't know, they just come in, they say mean things, and then they leave. And then they come back and keep doing that. It's super annoying. But it doesn't bother me a whole lot because I know those aren't the people that I need to concern myself with. I'm more concerned with the people that actually enjoy my videos, like what I'm doing, and probably the people that are watching this right now. You guys are the people that I actually care about, that I need to actually be more mentally focused on than the people that hate me. Like, the people that hate me, I shouldn't put any energy into that. There's no reason to. But the people that like me, they actually make this possible. So, yes and no, I guess. It takes a lot of willpower and a really thick skin to do this online, because I know where all these people come from. They're like, come out of nowhere, say all these mean things, and like, that's okay. It's just weird. But hey, that's the world, I guess. But I love all of you. Haters gonna hate, absolutely. This is part of it, I guess. Actually, it's after. I should probably like call it because it's like I gotta go to bed. Kids are gonna wake me up early. They're gonna come jumping on me. That's what I have to look forward to. Kids waking me up. Let me grab a couple here and then I'm gonna call it a night here. I thought I had a. Okay, well, I don't know. I guess I don't know where I was. What price do I charge for my wood? So, I talked about this earlier with the pricing structure. I got the base price and I add the incremental charges on for thickness and width. So the base price for everything I cut is $3.25. Then I add $1 per foot over 12 inches. So per 12 to 24, that's a category. What's $1 more per board foot? 24 to 36, $2 more, etc. And then from 10 quarter and higher, I add another $1 per board foot for that thickness. So everything that's 12 inches and under, and 9 quarter and under is all $3.25 per board foot. That's pickup, local sales. I don't know what I'm doing. It's late. And I jump to the bottom again. Am I going to be like 70 and doing videos like Paul Sellers? Probably. I can't imagine doing anything else. Greg asks, how long have I been woodworking for? 9, is that what we decided? 9 years? Since I was 21? I'm 30 now, 9 years. Okay. Oh, David sent a super chat. My last question is, do you offload what you build, and how do you do it when competing with the Walmart's just Ikea / Target mentality? Thanks for answering my questions. Keep up the great woodwork. Thank you, David. All the stuff I make is either kept for me or given away as gifts. That's the awesome thing about doing what I do. When I lost my job, I knew I wanted to do, like, if I had like the dream, like I want to be in my shop making stuff. But what really upset me about that idea was having to make things that I then had to sell, or had to make things that other people wanted me to make. What I really wanted to do was like what every hobbyist wants to do, is just go in their shop and make whatever they want to make. And the way that I was able to make that possible for me was to create the videos around what I do. So the things you see me making, that is a byproduct of my business, and the actual product is the video. So like the highboy, the secretary desk, all the projects you see me make the last couple of years, the crib, the bassinet, the changing table, That's all in the house. Like what? The only thing I really sold, I sold the Apple press I made last year. I made another one for Steve this year. I just sold them to kind of get rid of them. And then I kind of decided we kind of want to use again this year. So I mean, it's just not like I don't really base my business on selling these things. And even the lumber that I sell, I don't make a whole living off of selling lumber. I sell it to get rid of it because I don't have space to keep it all for myself. And for me, it's the adventure of cutting the wood and bringing you all along with me with the videos. That's the product, not necessarily the actual wood. So kind of a cool thing, I guess. Hope that answered your question, David. I really appreciate it. I keep throwing things on the ground. I got making a mess. Why do I always jump to the bottom? Whoever's down here. I'll answer a couple down here. Oh. I think you're in my state. Can I buy lessons from you? I am in Minnesota. I don't do in-person classes because honestly, it is tight enough in here with one person. There's no way that I could feasibly teach someone anything in this space. It just wouldn't work. However, I do have my online classes at the Wood Whisperer Guild. We're building the highboy right now. That's really in-depth, step-by-step stuff. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I have the highboy build. I have the farmhouse table build already and the sofa table build. Those 3 builds are, well, the highboys aren't done yet, but those 2 are done. And I have 2 more coming up over the next like 6 months. Where in Minnesota am I? I am in Brooklyn Center, which is a northwest suburb of Minneapolis. The city of Minneapolis is a mile that way. Thanks, Greg. If you ever want to send something in, just send it in. All right, I'm going to grab a couple here, and then for real this time, I got to go to bed. The same price for fine hardwoods, like black walnut too. The only time I charge off of that scale is if I have to front money to buy the log. That's the only time that pricing scale changes. So when I was selling a lot of black walnut, I'd buy the logs or I'd buy the sawn lumber and dry it myself. I would have a higher price tag on that because I had to recoup my initial investment on all of that, either that log or the sawn lumber. But otherwise, it all cost me the same to make. It all cost me the same to cut. It all cost me the same to go pick up. So it all costs the same. All right, I think that's Ever think about some CBM wheels for grinder? Yes. Yes. When I feel like I want to drop that kind of money, though, that's the other thing. Maybe when I get back in to turning again. Your brother lives in Brooklyn Center. Maybe he's my neighbor. I'm by Northport Elementary in Brooklyn Center. I'm by the Walmart. I'm from Brooklyn. Oh, Coon Rapids. Yeah, that's pretty close. Do you ever get attached to a board and have to keep it for yourself? That's why I have a lot of the lumber that I have. Patrick, you still haven't turned that bowl blank I sent you? That was a long time ago. Come on. Do I have a scheduled time for these live sessions? No. Like in the past, I have scheduled them ahead of time. The actual formal Ask Matt Lives, those are usually on Saturdays, I think. Today, I just the kids and the wife went to bed early, and I was by myself, and I didn't feel like doing any editing or computer work or woodworking. I didn't want to sit around, so I just thought I'd hop on here and say hi. It's like all the good questions come out for Sam leaving. Harry asks, Harry from Hawaii. Oh, I guess it's probably like a normal time there. How much are you into on the bandsaw mill? $8,500 in parts on that. Scott trying to be all cool, going for a 16-mile run. Whoa. I know you've been busy, Patrick. When I slab some wood, do I have an instant plan for it? Try it. The basement's empty right now, Brian. I just emptied it out from our open house. So it's yeah, it's empty. Do I ship lumber? Occasionally. I honestly don't have a whole lot of time. The problem with shipping lumber is it's really time consuming to package it and like send pictures of stuff to people and you know, whatever, all that stuff associated with actually packing an order and getting it to the customer. So for the most part, I don't. Sometimes I will, but pretty much local sales at this point, I guess. Okay. Any advice for starting a YouTube channel? You know, the landscape is so different. It's incredibly different now than it was when I started mine in 2014. So I honestly don't have any good advice at this point because it's so different. There's so many more channels out there, so many people making content now. I guess here's one: find a way to differentiate yourself if you can, because that's literally the only advice I have at this point. Unless you have specific things on like making videos or editing or something that I could probably help with. As far as very broad starting a channel, I don't know. You have to like it and love it. You have to love it because it is a ton of work if you want to do it right. And I guess it depends on your goals. So if your goal is just to post some videos, show what you're doing, just having fun, do whatever you want. If you want to build an audience and try and make a career of it, you got to be a little more crazy because you have a lot of work ahead of you. Doing this is a ton of work, and it's extremely difficult to do. If you want to like start a channel to progress it to a point where it's a financial thing for you, it's very difficult to do that, if not impossible to do that well, while you have a full-time job or a full-time commitment outside of that, because like growing a channel will literally consume all of the time you have, and if you can only put 10 hours a week into it, probably not going to grow that fast unless you have. There are some people that can do that get really lucky because they have just something that makes it for them, makes it possible for that to happen for them. But at least for me, it would never have been possible if I only put 10 hours in a week. When I was working my old job and doing this at the same time, I was doing, I don't even know, probably like 15, 20 hours a week. And then I lost my job and I started doing this full time, and I was somewhere between 80 and 100 a week. And then my son was born, and then I was trying to do this full time and take care of him while my wife was at work. So I was working 6 hours a day, like consistently from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. Then I would go to bed. My son would wake up around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'd feed him for about an hour, and then we'd both go back to bed, and he'd sleep for anywhere from 2 or 3 hours, and I'd get a second chunk of sleep, and then I'd be up with him until my wife got home. I wasn't really able to do a whole lot while he was around, especially after he started moving. Once he started moving, I wasn't able to do anything, and then I spent time with my wife, and then ate dinner, put the baby to bed, put my wife to bed, and then went back to work. And mentally, I was an absolute zombie. And even though I was working those 6 hours, it was not like 6 hours of like normal work. It was like maybe like 2 or 3 because I was not there mentally. So anyway, then we hired a nanny, and I was able to afford to hire her for like 20 hours a week. So I had 20 hours of fixed time, and I still worked nights, which helped a lot. And then eventually I was able to hire full-time help to watch the children so I could spend like literally full-time on this. So it has been, when I say it's been a journey, it's been a journey. So yeah. Woo! that was a long answer to that. Hopefully that helps, Derek. All right. I think I'm going to hit the hay and go to bed a little earlier than I normally do. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on tonight, hanging out. I was going to unbox this, what is this? It's a vacuum chamber. But it's getting kind of late now. So I wanted to get a little vacuum chamber thing for degassing resin so I can do some more resin stuff with like epoxy filling, larger things and slabs. I got one of these cheapo ones from Amazon that I thought I'd try out. Maybe I'll take it out real quick because I kind of want to see what it is. Cool. So we got a little chamber and we got a little pump. Hopefully this, I'm assuming this one will work out just fine for some simple degassing. Which sounds hilarious, by the way. That's what I do after a intense meal. Come on. Oh. All right. This looks pretty cool. Packaging's kind of nice, huh? Whoops. Probably my favorite part about these things is it literally looks like a stock pot. If you want to make some soup, I got a pot for you. I got some vacuum hose, I got the lid thing. It's all pretty basic. Acrylic lid. It's kind of cool. And we got a little vacuum pump. Oh, man. Nope, no tape. I could have made a lot of things in my life, but at a certain point you gotta say, I don't got time to make all this stuff. So yeah, I don't know, little vacuum thing. I got, I think, what is this, 5 gallon? Is that what this is? 3 gallon? I don't remember. I went with a little bit bigger pot so that I could do like stabilizing stuff in there. So if I want to do like some spalted wood or something, I could do that. I don't know if how much of that I'll do or if I actually do it, but the price difference between a little tiny pot and this big pot was like $10 or something like that. So I think all the cost is in the vacuum pump, and this is not a very good one, but it will work for this. So that is up. That's oh yeah, this smells super, oh yeah, super Chinesium. Oh boy, that's got quite the scent. Whew. If it breaks in the first week, I will post a negative Amazon review. Okay, I'm gonna literally actually go to bed now. It is kind of late-ish. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out and entertaining me while I finish my wife's beer, which I haven't finished yet. It has been fun and all that stuff. So, that's all I got, I think. I will catch you all when's my next thing I'm going to do? Oh, I have a video this week. The farmhouse table video will be out this week. I'm finally going to edit that. So, I got another build video this week. Dun dun dun. Catch you later. How do I stop this? Can I stop this?